Hey everybody, hi, this is Samrat. Thank you very much for joining us once again for the Baseline Show. We do this every Wednesday, noon time in the EST, 6 p.m. Central Time, and 9:30 p.m. in India time. Um, we are very excited today to have a very special guest with us, Mr. Pravesh Kumar. He's an MD with Accenture, and Accenture happens to be one of our favorite sponsors. Thank you very much for all the support which we've received so far, right from the genesis up until now. And yeah, we will today, on today's episode, we will explore some new ways of some data sharing trends with Pravesh, and understand what they see, the kind of value which can be potentially unlocked in the supply chains. uh, so let me quickly run through with Pravesh about his background. So he's got a pretty amazing background. Everybody, he's an engineer from one of the premium institutes in India, and that's IIT. If people are watching us from India, they would always know us. That's IIT, and then he's also got a business degree, and now he's an MD with Accenture. Pravesh, I would let you talk a little more about your various positions and your various roles with your employers. What I can definitely say right now is that Pravesh is joining us on the Baseline Show in individual capacity. He's not representing his present or former employers, which is very important. Any views that he expresses are his own, and should not be construed as the employers or past employers' opinions. So that's the standard disclaimer which we give out. Thank you once again, Pravesh, for joining us today, and you know we would like to use the maximum time that we have to discuss baseline with you and get you on board.
Yeah. Thank you, Samrat. Very excited to be here. And I know that we have been talking about this for some time, but it's good to get together finally on the show.
Absolutely, absolutely. And
So,
and this is one thing which I missed in the background, Pravesh. So Pravesh is one of the leaders in Accenture Strat. When I was there, I used to look up to him, and he used to give us opportunities. I mean, he's an opportunity bank. For people who are with Accenture who are watching us, please do hit him up on the internal channels as well. He's an opportunity bank. Go ahead, Pravesh. Up to you. Over to you.
yeah, I think as a brief introduction from my side, so you already gave some basics, but if I have to add, I will add two simple things. I have been always very entrepreneurial type and innovative type. So spend a lot of time with product management in Germany and Netherlands. So then you think about new features, new product and things like that. And then when I moved to Accenture in Amsterdam office, I still recall first time discussing with my client, how can you use Google Glass to assemble a machine? Can you think of that? And then from there, the journey started. We got together in Accenture Study and Consulting, where you were there, but we had this innovation team where we had blockchain as a capability pillar, hundreds of people there. AI is another capability pillar, then AR, VR, 3D printing, and so on. So it was very exciting time. And still, I think when I see all the people who come to Accenture or are part of the team, they are really excited when they get a chance to work on this kind of thing. Yeah. So important part is for me personally as well as professionally, how do you apply all these technology to solve business problems? And those are the things probably we will discuss today. Uh,
Absolutely. Absolutely. And that goes into showing us that the four patents that you have under your belt.
yeah.
I mean, there are various people that we get on the baseline show. And there was somebody who was also a patent lawyer, by the way. We had somebody from London joining us many, many months ago. But yeah, we have somebody today who has got four patents. Kudos to that, Pravesh. And we would like to know a little more about your patterns and what really inspired you, and how we can
Yeah.
all leverage those.
No, thank you, Samrat. As I said, I'm always curious about how can you apply all these latest, greatest technologies to solve business problems. So very first thing which came from my personal experience when I used to work with ASML. This company makes lithography machines, very complex machines, 300 million euro per machine. So the complexity is more than aircraft. And I was like, to assemble this machine, we are still using very old fashioned PDF based work instructions. And they are not easy to understand, a lot of text and images and so on. And so when Google Glass came in, I thought, can we make these work instructions very interactive, where we have audio, video, hands-free, and all those stuff. And then I developed an industrial solution. I will not get into the detail. That was my first patent using Google Glass. uh, and then from there, journey started. I think you mentioned about cargo loading optimization.
I mentioned in one of the posts. Yes, I did
In,
mention that in one of the posts.
yeah, so that is a patent where we are thinking about how can you use cargo loading, optimize that space with AR, VR, and blockchain technology. Blockchain is part of that patent. Let me tell you, there is a algorithm. How do you share the data between different parties when you have to bring a lot of boxes from different parties and they go to cargo? You share that data well in advance so that you are able to virtually pack your cargo and optimize the space. So that was another interesting one.
That is right up our alley. That's where baseline fits in very well.
And there is one
When
more interesting one about blockchain, by the way.
Yeah, yeah.
I combined 3D printing and blockchain for another patent, which is about rather than in the supply chain world, when you need parts uh, to fix. Let me take very simple example: car. There is a car, uh, maybe designed and manufactured in US, Tesla, sold in India or whatever. It's not in India really, but just taking an example. So the spare parts are not always available. Small spare parts are not always available. So we developed a system in which the actual manufacturer can put the design of spare parts on a platform, and then any local company can manufacture them and then sell them. And there's an entire royalty process that was designed through blockchain technology on that platform. So
Hmm.
that's the third patent.
That's very interesting. I remember briefly going through that in the client inspiration center
Yeah.
with you in Gurgaon. I think that was something which we walked through. I mean, if you were to take good names, I briefly remember having a presentation with Airbus, I believe,
Yeah.
on this.
Yeah. Yeah. So excited times.
Super awesome stuff, Pravesh. And after that, so my memories with you were sort of limited there, and then in the informed innovation days. After that, we spoke about last time that you set up a whole digital supply chain strategy team. Tell us a little more about what this team is doing and what are the objectives.
Yeah. So these days, I am leading supply chain control tower for Accenture globally. Supply chain control tower uh, could be very confusing words for different people. The people who are in supply chain, they are confused, and people who are not in supply chain, they really think it's a airport type of control tower. But I would like to simplify this for all of you and all
Yeah.
of your audience. Um, in COVID times, in war times, you have seen how supply chain was disrupted. So when you are managing complex supply chain as an organization, you would like to know what is happening in my supply chain. So you need almost real-time visibility. Where is my inventory? Where are my parts? Where are my goods? Did my order reach the customer or not? Or the things I'm supposed to receive from supplier, did I get those things on time or not? So creating that end-to-end visibility to understand what is happening in my supply chain, then creating predictive alerts So know before something goes wrong. So what is going wrong in my, or what is supposed to go wrong in my supply chain? And then figuring out different solutions. Okay, if this is supposed to go wrong, then what are the potential ways to solve it? And then automate those decisions. So these are the different capability layer of a supply chain control tower.
I see.
Now, how does it connect to the data exchange, which is the topic of today, baseline, and most of the audience must be wondering, why we are talking about supply chain control tower.
Oh no, we talk about supply chain. Actually, on today's episode, we should call it actually. This is our official attempt to break a world record or make a world record of using the word supply chain on a YouTube live stream the most number of times.
Yeah.
So today we're going to do that.
Yeah. So I work with my clients, and one of the major challenges in supply chain is to really understand all the things you are supposed to receive from your supplier and to your supply chain, huge dependency and very limited visibility. Today, the most common way to get that information is emails and phone calls. That is the most common way because all these companies don't trust each other to integrate the system, share the data. If you can share the data, then if I am a company like BMW and I'm getting parts like tire from somewhere else, steering wheel from somewhere else, then so many chips which goes into the car. If I have the right status of all this stuff almost in real time, then there are two things I can say. One, I don't have to build a lot of inventory because today they build a lot of inventory to make sure that they have the right parts at the right time. Second, I don't have to deal with unexpected scenarios that my assembly is stopped because certain part is not there. So in complex supply chain where multi-parties are involved, exchanging this data is very critical. And it's very critical, especially when you have to put together a supply chain control tower type of capability, where you really want to know what is happening in my supply network and know before something goes wrong, what is going to go wrong and how to solve it.
Right, right, right. And Pravesh, I think a lot of our audience. I mean, we keep talking to so many people, so a lot of our audience is also very technical people. They're developers, or they're trying to integrate baseline, let's say, into their software as well. So let's break down. I mean, all the things that you just spoke about is sort of 2 days worth of content, right? So we can just probably break down parts of it. Let's say with an example of, you took an automobile example. You could just use that to talk about digital supply chain first. Why we are saying that there's a digital supply chain, what was the real problem which a digital supply chain is solving, and then sort of go on to maybe explore what are data silos. Are there
Yeah,
opportunities which are missed because data is not shared or data is not synchronized?
yeah.
I'm not even going to touch upon reconciliation till the time we get there. So
No, I think digital supply chain, again, I will simplify, many people might know it.
yeah.
Uh, a lot of these organizations which are hundreds of year old, you won't believe that they still have many manual processes. A lot of things are still not digitized. If you would like to have a real digital status of or data about everything, it is not available in many organizations. Okay, I take one example. I was working with a company in India. It's a big company, and I will just say it makes Seat tire also. It has six different company, and one of the company makes Seat tires.
Mm.
And they were talking to me, and they said, my biggest challenge is half of my products are exported to Turkey, Europe, and these countries. And they make a lot of, they sell a lot of electrical component and parts and so on. Now there is a sales guy sitting in Turkey, putting an order of $500,000. This combined order has 50 different parts. He puts an order, system throws some kind of random delivery date, because everything needed to get the right delivery date is not there in the system. And that is an example of why do you need digital supply chain. Somebody has put in some kind of lead time there, which is outdated, not
Which is hard coded in the software.
which is hard coded. It's not matching with the contract which the procurement guy has signed with certain supplier, correct? In a digital company, these things should be fully connected, that there is a digital contract, there's a lead time there, then that is connected to your ERP system where lead time is fed in, and then all this is able to come together to tell the delivery date to this guy. And next level of problem, if any of these 50, 100 parts he's supposed to receive in this half a $1 million order, if one part is delayed, what is the impact on overall shipment? Or if one supply, so this is a first step is to digitize all the processes and getting this information to the people who need it. Now, you can do it within an organization because there is no data trust issue. But as soon as you go outside the four wall of your organization, then the data trust issue comes in, the integration issues comes in, data sharing issues comes in, the siloed data is an issue. So then you need a better technology, which is not a simple integration, because no other company is going to allow you to integrate their system fully with your system. So yeah, I think the data silos are there within an organization, and when you get into your broader supply network, then it's even a bigger challenge. Even within organization, what R&D is doing, what manufacturing is doing, what supply chain doing, there are also a lot of silos.
Interesting. By the way, I just got a message from somebody really important in an automobile company. So we're just going to maintain the automobile example for the rest of the show. All right.
That's nice.
Who was that? Who was the message from?
Under the wraps. Eventually,
Under
we will
the
reveal.
wraps?
Yes.
We can't know.
Yeah. Actually, it's
I'll
quite
reveal it right
interesting.
now. It was me. Okay.
Yeah. It's quite interesting. The big automobile company like BM and so on. We have been having this discussion actually last week about supply chain transformation and what could be the most suitable platform for their transformation. Some of you might know that in supply chain world these days there is this Blue Yonder, Connexus, O9, some of these supply chain platforms. But when we looked into automotive OEM, they still have very customized planning platforms which they used to use. And I was surprised, I was actually shocked that none of these platform players have real credential to that these big automotive companies are using these platforms on. So it's a just side note probably, but very relevant.
And monolithic applications come in and they're just stuck as technical debt. I think that is something which has come up on the baseline show in the past as well. People are stuck with their monolithic applications which they got made. By the way, just half a year ago they were convincing their management that this is the best way to go.
Yeah, right? And it's not half an year. They have put 20 years in building that particular platform. And they have spent $1 billion. So they can't tell their management, now I need some other platform. So quite challenging for them. And it is happening in even at broader scale, not only supply chain. If you look at the ERP, so the SAP was also being customized every year, so many dollars being spent by company, but I'm thankful to SAP that they have come up with upgrade this as for HANA and really going with a template format rather than custom format. They are saying this is the golden template, please use it.
Excellent. Excellent. By the way, SAP also is one of our sponsors, and we really thank them as well for all the work that they're doing with us. Mehran is also on our technical steering committee. Um, Amongst us, we also have Ryan here. He's leading SAP efforts at Provide, and yeah, we would eventually talk a little more with Ryan on what he's doing with SAP. Okay, so Pravesh, you spoke about digital supply chains, the need for them overall, and what are companies doing in transformation? And where what are the key decision factors for especially for technology to come into a supply chain? And two parts to that question. One is what do companies do within their own boundaries, and then the other one is how are they integrating or not integrating with their supply network?
Yeah. So let me share based on some of the real example without quoting the clients and so on.
Yes, yes,
These are
absolutely. Please be safe. Please be
the
safe while you're on the baseline show.
yeah, these are the real stories. I think within the four wall of a company, how they're digitizing. I think most of the big companies are going through digitizing the core first. So really uh, ensuring that their foundational processes for warehouse management, for transportation management, for uh, all kind of master data management, uh, the financial processes. So it's basically S4HANA in simple word. So that is the core behind these digital transformations.
Mm,
And then you need a next layer. I have done those kind of workshops with clients. What can you map in the digital core, and where you need additional platforms to do something extra? You need in sourcing and procurement, in planning, in manufacturing, in distribution, in service, and so on. So what we call it, we have 3 4 layer in this, and I think it would be interesting for all of you.
yeah.
First, digitizing the core, then putting layer of these connected applications to serve a specific purpose of a function. And then we call the next layer as the innovation layer. And that's where you have very specific use case where you are using emerging technologies. So a specific use case for AR/VR, a specific use case for blockchain or IoT or so on. So that's how we are looking at, we call it like customer-centric supply chain architecture in Accenture. But these are the layers of technologies to really make your supply chain customer-centric. And yeah, I think second part of your question was around external.
Yeah.
And I can tell you, I don't think anybody has solved it. It is not easy to break the silos in your supply network. I can tell you one example where SAP is trying their best. They are saying, I have Ariba, where I already have 200, 300 of your supplier on my Ariba network. Hence,
Yeah.
I have that data. And if we make some kind of agreement, then I can exchange the data and give you the visibility you need for your supply chain. So that is what is happening with one of our clients. But is this the perfect solution? I don't think so. Uh, we have been talking to many clients. Did they really solve entire supply chain visibility and data exchange issues? Answer is no. They are all trying. And I think hence that's why I personally believe technologies are needed to, and blockchain could play a big role in this. And I already know some of the use cases where especially when you talk about payments and receipt and confirmation and all that, that's where blockchain is already being used.
Yeah.
I'm still looking for, and I also know in some pharma uh, to to track certain medicines and so on, they are using it. But I'm still searching for the cases where they are using it for really control tower creating end-to-end visibility of the supply network, connecting 10 different companies in the value chain. I haven't seen it, to be very honest.
Awesome, awesome. But Pravesh, coming back to my automobile example, so what would be the ideal control tower implementation for an automobile giant? Imagine the largest the companies in India, for example. I mean, and their fragmented supply chains.
Yeah, so you can imagine how complex is their supply chain. So and it's easy to understand because all of us drive car. The car has hundreds of parts, and if you just take one part out of it, which is a steering wheel has multiple part in it. There is electronics and there is other stuff. So there are suppliers to this steering wheel assembly company as well. So normally there could be easily a layer of 8 to 10 supplier to complete a part which this OEM need.
Yeah.
Okay. So the ideal supply chain control tower should be able to give you end-to-end visibility about what is, if you have to assemble one car, all the parts required to assemble that car, where are they in my supply network? Are they all on time or not? uh, is there some risk expected? And then if risk is expected, the guy the manager on the line, assembly line, getting alerts, and then figuring out, somebody in the supply chain figuring out how to solve those issues and so on. So it is very complex. The concept is easy, supply chain control tower, but implementing it is very complex. I have been part of many supply chain control tower projects in last years. Biggest issue is data in this. You do not have the data you need. If you have it, it's not clean or it's not reliable. So 40 to 50% of our time in supply chain control tower project goes in data.
So,
That's
and that is identifying data harmonization opportunities, or is that data cleansing and just making sure that it just stays that way?
is everything. It's starting from data capturing, because some of the data is missing. So you need to figure out a way to capture it. Then from there, cleansing it, ensuring the reliability, ensuring the quality. Because once you start projecting the final results, and if your users don't believe what is under the hood, uh, entire project is a failure. So you have to make sure that the data is reliable. So it's everything, and that's at the heart of a successful control tower.
Right, absolutely. We've still not got any questions for you from the YouTube stream, but one of our TSC members, Jack, he says hi from Amsterdam. I don't know what that means, Jack, if you're watching us, but yeah, he sent you a message which I'm just going to post on our YouTube stream.
Right.
Um,
Maybe
uh,
there is some history. I spent a lot of time
he
in Amsterdam.
definitely. I mean, the when he was one of the most excited people when I posted about having you on, on for the show. He texted me the same thing, that he's considerable time in Amsterdam and around that area. Okay, so yeah, I mean, this is getting very interesting. I think we just go a little deeper into automobile use cases and look at.
Well,
Hey, Mark. Yeah, you were
I
saying
was going to
something.
say,
Sorry.
yeah, I've been quiet for 40 minutes now, I know, and that's
Yeah,
a
yeah, yeah, yeah.
new record. So, but no, I mean, to Pravesh's point, I mean, within any time, it doesn't necessarily be supply chain, but when you have, multiple parties that are all belonging to separate legal entities that all need to collaborate among a common purpose, making that happen is a really challenging task, and actually maintaining it day in day out is just as challenging. And it's, we looked at it with blockchain, and that just seems to be too robust of a of an answer to the eternal question and stuff, because it involves ripping and replacing something, and generally ripping and replacing something expensive. So you need to be realistic about it, going, well, why not just make the current environment work better and be able to prove, not attest, not assure, prove that we are all working on the same data set. Yeah. And since all of this collaboration has to happen outside of corporate boundaries, that collaboration, I mean, because of data privacy, are just competitive position. People don't want to do this, and it's like, but it's like it would be so much easier if they could, and we give you a method to allow for that. So
yeah, and I think I will piggyback off of you, Mark, and with what you just said, and if you know a little bit about the baseline protocol, there's an aspect about zero knowledge, so it allows you to verifiably prove things about your data without needing to share the data. So you can make sure your data is consistent in different systems of records, or come up with some agreed upon logic on what you need to prove. So maybe I don't need to tell you everything, but all you need to know is,
yeah, I've been trying my best to go on board, Pravesh, on the whole idea.
But so my question for you then would be, I typed this out to Samrat yesterday, so I am just going to read my note, is what is a situation where masking data, but verifiably proving something about that data could be useful in control tower data sharing? So you don't even need to share the data. You just need to know, like, yes or no. So then other parts of the process can move on. Could you share like a use case or idea you have in mind?
No, I think it could be useful in many scenarios. So if I take again the simple example, and Samrat prefers to stay with automotive. So probably when you are sharing this information about different parts in your supply chain, you might not need to share exactly where the stuff is, or the actual status of how much percentage is complete or not. On regular basis, if you even keep on sharing that yes, it's on track or not, whether it is still gonna be delivered on time or not, probably that is still better than what they have today. Because today, the only way they get this information is phone call and emails, and that too when somebody's chasing them. So that's probably one example. And in payment world, definitely, I think this, if you have a proof yes and no, that is also a use case which you can think of. I can also think of something in terms of quality. So let's say if there are some processes where somebody is checking the quality, might not need to put all the parameters, whether if somebody is a certified QA guy and can ensure that yes, the quality is as per expectation. So there could be multiple examples.
Right. So I think this was a conversation which I was having with somebody in manufacturing some time ago, which was around QA, and he was actually specific about high C sales or stuff getting delivered at customer premises, sometimes at supplier premises. Who's auditing the quality? And first of all, I need to verify, is it the right person auditing? I mean, they're not. They want to first verify that this guy is not colluding with providers to pass just anything. The second thing is, what are my parameters? I don't want to disclose those parameters to everybody, or my suppliers, or anybody I'm supplying to, but I still want my auditor to know and audit based on that. So that came out to be a clear case where we could use baseline for generating those reports. These parameters have been audited and reported on, but I'm not going to reveal those parameters. I'm just going to give you flags and ranges. So that was something which is very, very powerful. use case for actually the entire of manufacturing, not just automobile, by the way.
Yeah.
Automobile.
Yeah, correct. That's true.
Okay, any more questions from the group here? We have a very
we have a few in chat actually. So I'll start with one from Jack. There's a few questions in here, but it is how do control towers currently work? Who controls it? Is it possible to work with several supply chain participants in one control tower?
Yeah. So first thing is, unfortunately, this word might not reflect the reality of what it is, but this is there. So control tower doesn't mean that anybody is controlling things in the organization. It should be more like, it should be seen as collaborative platform. It's more collaboration than control, just to clarify that part. And to the second part of the question, yes, the whole purpose of this is that multiple party work together. And there are situations where you need multiple party within an organization or in the supply network to come together to solve certain supply chain issues. And I have even developed such a demo in Metaverse, and we launched it in Gartner Orlando, because if you take a situation, there is a Christmas time and there is a PlayStation, high demand, is going out of stock in one part of North America. Now, how you solve that situation? You need to think about, can I, ship that PlayStation from another part of North America, another state, or can I get more from China and things like that. So you have store managers, you have warehouse managers, you have your logistics managers, you have your suppliers, you have your sales guys, all these guys coming together in a virtual world, in metaverse, understanding what is the situation, looking at various solution scenario which system is giving you, and then debating and then selecting the right option. So, and they don't need to travel. They can collaborate in a virtual world. And another aspect of, and now I'm selling metaverse, but
please do. We are high-tech people.
Yeah. So another advantage is normal control tower could have like multiple screen in a room because you need to consume large amount of data. Okay. In this case, in a virtual world, there's no limitation. You can have many screens,
any number of displays,
and a large amount of data, and discuss it and debate and then figure out a solution. I hope,
I think
Jack,
too,
I'm able to answer this.
I think too, the idea of digital twins in manufacturing is really cool as well. Cause like, what if I had a metaverse equivalent of this baseline hat that I bought, right? Cause that's the cool thing about the intersection of like these worlds of blockchain and metaverse and manufacturing as well.
Yeah, actually in Accenture, metaverse is not like one technology another. It's a combination of all these technologies. That's what we say. There is AI, there is blockchain, there is AR, VR. It's combination of all these. So the real use case we are trying to develop, we are trying to infuse all these technologies to really change the experience for the organization, for the end users, and so on.
Awesome. We do have another question in chat.
And Ryan, I want to make sure that our baseline hat matches your baseline hat. So we can
I hope
you gotta make sure.
Yeah, we should have like a whole baseline hats episode,
exactly.
In tribute to
and
John.
Baseline t-shirt and baseline mugs as well. I've been sending, by the way, Pravesh, you're going to get it very soon. I've been sending baseline stuff to people, to speakers who come on the show. Okay, so and yeah, let's pick up the question. So we're just going to pick up the question from the chat, right? For EDI.
So Paul said, have you used EDI data in any blockchain projects? If so, what was the use case? If not, do you think it is a good existing protocol for blockchain adoption for enterprise?
Have you used what, Sonal? Can you repeat?
EDI data.
Okay. Yeah. So in in some of the control tower, yes, but uh, my technical knowledge is now getting limited because I'm the guy who sell it and design it, and then there are guys who implement at that level. But on a high level, yes, I think we have used it.
That may be one of the data sources, right? So
Right,
yeah,
right.
interesting aspect. But thank you, Paul, for that question.
Yeah, and that's also been discussed in our research group, our research work group in the baseline community. One of the efforts was comparing the baseline standard, comparing and contrasting alongside other protocols, and EDI was on that list as well.
Yeah.
Awesome. No other
Yeah.
questions so far, but Ryan, I see you in chat if you want to take the mic next.
Yeah, absolutely. EDI is a great example of a really, it's a business process that's one of the most difficult to rip out and replace, right? Because you
Yeah.
actually have to even change the user behavior and system behavior. And what I found really with when I was doing pro EBC work was that baselining an EDI IDOC out of SAP is a hugely beneficial thing because of the kind of asynchronous nature of that messaging. Those are that proving, the zero knowledge proving of that data is immensely valuable because it's, by its nature with EDI, you kind of throw data over the fence, if you will, and like, did the supplier actually get the data? Did they map it correctly? How do I know, right? And baselining is that tool that lets you say they processed it well, and there's a verifiable witness to that they have the correct state of data, right? That's when that dawned on me, like as an SAP person, I was like, oh my goodness, there are so many places in like SAP implementations where that happens. Like Pravesh was like describing, like these supply chains where you have SAP as like the digital core, but then going out to all of these small and medium-sized businesses that use Excel, that use other software. Like how do you get that knowledge of that they're working with the same data as you?
Yeah.
It's tough. There's firewalls. There's a lot of barriers of entry there.
Yeah, correct. Good.
Yes, any other
Super.
questions from our group or comments?
Yeah, great perspective, Ryan, but thank you. Thanks for adding.
I have one for Pravesh.
Hey.
So
Super.
I think what you've described of the this kind of control tower approach seems to be largely reactive, with predictive alerts, and then depending on those predictions, reacting with automated solutions. So why the decision to go after a more reactive model rather than something that proactively solves current problems?
No, maybe I wasn't clear, but control tower is not reactive. It is supposed to be proactive. So you have to predict the problem before they happen and figure out different solution scenarios to deal with them before they happen. It's not a post facto at all. It's predictive.
Okay, so
yeah.
If it predicts that a certain problem is going to happen at a particular timeline, then it'll find a solution to kind of
Correct.
divert that problem, right?
Correct.
But it's only able to divert problems that it's able to predict, right? So is there any kind of challenge there in predicting all the different types of problems faced, or what happens when we don't catch a problem?
Yeah, so control tower is not like it's able to predict by everything in your organization. The control tower implementation is normally use case driven. So you decide which area you're gonna implement it for. For example, you would like to understand the inventory situation in your organization, all the warehouse, inbound, outbound. And then you would like to predict if certain inventory is going out of stock, and then figure it out and so on. Or another use case could be you would like to uh, have a view of end-to-end order management. And if any order delivery is delayed, you would like to know that before your customer start calling you that why I didn't receive my order. So you will decide those use cases, and then you will have a prediction only for those, not for anything else. You know.
Mm. Right, right, right,
Okay.
right.
So for
And
each kind of implementation, it's more like a custom prediction per your pain points, which is
Correct.
similar to Baseline's proactive approach of identified pain points and then like an immediate reconciliation. So interesting. Thank you.
baseline seems to be created for control towers. By the way, Pravesh, just for some context, Keith, Yoav, and Mark in the past they used to work for General Motors in the US.
Allegedly.
So yeah, allegedly. Okay, I
I'm
see.
just kidding.
Because I knew these guys as the GM gang, when they joined Baseline.
Yeah, I can confirm. I can confirm that.
I don't know what you're talking
Can
about.
confirm.
Never met these guys before.
I can neither confirm nor deny.
We
I
didn't
see.
really touch a lot of supply chain focused stuff in GM though. It was more like I did a handful of like ETL data insourcing projects. Those were kind of interesting. Then like some work on like the GM website. So not a ton of supply chain stuff. We're actually learning a lot more about that now. But it's been really interesting and informative to hear what you've been saying, Pravesh. I've been listening and taking some notes because we can include a lot of this stuff in our enablement material for supply chain.
Absolutely.
So yeah, it's been really great. Obviously, I'm not saying we should stop the show. We should keep listening to more of what you have to say, but it'd be cool to have another conversation with you and talk more about synergies and what you guys are really looking for.
No, very happy to share, Mark, and glad that we can exchange some notes. And Samrat and I are connected often, so we will see
absolutely.
what
Absolutely.
else is possible in coming weeks and months.
Yeah. Many things to explore. Pravesh, also let me take this opportunity to introduce you to James Harsh. He's from the Enterprise Ethereum Alliance. I know that Accenture is also a big contributor in the EEA, but you guys may not have been connected directly, right? And you do so much work on baseline on blockchain within Accenture. So yeah, this could be start of something great.
No, great. Nice meeting you, James.
Yeah, very nice meeting you as well. I see we are connected on LinkedIn, so somewhere we crossed paths recently. So great to listen in today. Thanks for having me. Thanks for the introduction, Samrat.
Thank you. Okay, last but not the least, Pravesh, let's talk about your fourth patent, which seems to be very interesting.
The fourth patent, just don't ask me detail because I didn't write the algorithm. But I came up with this concept, and then
because we're all blockchainers here, so we would want to hear what AI-based consensus can be.
I have to read the text myself. So I'm being very honest, and
sure.
Team did a lot of work in this case.
I'm sure I can count on the fingers how many people and who were those guys. Some of the old gang, but yeah, it's very interesting to know how can AI and consensus work together.
Yeah. No, I think the team has been debating when they were deep diving into all the different blockchain technologies, the consensus mechanism, and so on. And then they thought, is there something we can use from AI perspective, some patterns which could be learned or which could be taught to the system.
Yeah.
Then from there, something can be done. And as I already made a disclaimer in the beginning, Technically, I know nothing, very limited on this.
You're the leader.
Yeah, so that happens, and that's the benefit of being a leader at some point. That
I see.
team does some of the work.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So that's very interesting to know, Pravesh, and thank you so much for sparing time. I mean, we could just go on, while we talk about supply chains on the baseline show. As I said, we could make an official attempt for Guinness record for saying supply chain the most number of times. But here is something which I feel we should be doing. Maybe we should have a follow-on chat about how Accenture has been contributing, the people from Accenture who are involved with us, and
yeah,
maybe chart out something. Also, as Mark said, we could use some. We could show you what we have created so far on the enablement side, and maybe seek your feedback there. I think that could be
and
a
I think,
great value add.
yeah, in so supply chain control tower, I can talk days and days, and that's
Yeah,
something,
yeah,
that's no issue.
yeah.
One of the major issue is still this end-tier supply network, data sharing, collaboration.
Hmm.
As far as I know, there is no real scalable solution.
Hmm.
And I think that is a point we should explore. How, if baseline can be useful here and solve this issue, would be great.
you know this is this is the hold my beer moment for me on the show today. So because let's take few more minutes and just talk about, double click on that what you just said. So can you elaborate a little more? What is end-tier data sharing and why is it not scalable currently?
Yeah, so I think um, it is very and I think we just talked about that. So when you have multi-party, multiple organization, multiple legal entities, I think one of the friend here was talking about this. The data exchange, data sharing, there is no right mechanism to do it today. And even
Hmm.
if technically it exists, practically people have not implemented it. So, and I'm connected to a lot of companies and having these discussions. I'm still looking for a good solution in this direction.
Hmm.
How
Interesting.
do you make
Interesting.
multiple entity, multiple companies come together, exchange the data, create the visibility in the supply chain network?
Well, that's the problem statement of baseline protocol, and we seem to have solved it somewhat. So we will see you, Pravesh, very very soon, on a more intimate chat with, let's say, some of us, and we can definitely show you the kind of stuff that we've done so far and we've covered so far, and seek your feedback on that. Uh, Thank you very much once again, Pravesh, for making time for this call, for this show today. People who are watching us, I see the number goes up and down, but thank you very much for staying with us throughout the show and also watching us after. I'm sure this show is something which we're going to reference a lot of times in the time to come. So people who are watching us, please do like and subscribe to the YouTube channel. It's very important for you to get our latest updates videos. We're going to do very very short videos very soon. Maybe do baseline 101. Do go to our website, which is baseline-protocol.org, and do join our Slack channel. There's on our website there's also a get involved section. You can find all our links there to start participating. Well, with that, let me also welcome others. If there are any community updates, um, Mark with a K, Joab, Keith, any updates you would like to share with us?
Really, I mean, it's we're distilling the message. That's the one thing that we gave the presentation at FinTech DevCon in Denver last month, and it was a great way of actually pressure testing our slide deck and seeing how what parts of the message landed better than maybe others. Some that might need to be improved, some that probably need to slim it down a little bit. Brevity being the soul of wit, at some point. So, we want to kind of balance that on the edge of that coin to where, we want to inform them, but we don't want to bore them. So, and really that's not something you can actually do in just kind of a jam session or whatever. I mean, it's
Yeah,
really go ahead and do the laps, actually present it. So,
super.
looking out to try and get to where we can do it again. So,
Super, super, super. Thank you. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is a wrap for today. Thank you very much for
Whoa,
joining
whoa,
today's.
whoa.
Hey, you
Whoa,
have
whoa, whoa,
something.
Samrat. Hold
Oh,
on.
you have something before we wrap. Cool. Go ahead, man.
I just want to have a little, session where we guess who your car manufacturer connect is.
Elon Musk.
Yeah.
Elon
No.
Musk.
Mary Barra.
Mary Barra.
GM.
Elon Musk. Mary Barra.
Mary Barra.
Collaboration.
Henry T. Ford.
All right. I think we're good here. Oh, go ahead, Ryan.
Tesla doesn't run SAP very famously. They have their own ERP, actually, by the way.
Oh.
Ooh.
Yeah.
What is
yeah.
But they
Jim
may be
Farley what it
exploring.
is?
As Pravesh said, a lot of technology does not work anymore and needs to be replaced.
Mhm.
Yes, it does.
Tesla, reach out to us.
Yeah, reach out to us.
Get
We're
man.
really
baseline.
sorry.
Get baseline.
Thank you, everyone. Cheers.
Jim Farley.
Thank you.